You need to download it, or you had it from last time in another class, so you can. Tap on here. Caption. Okay, so slightly different than the other weeks. When you go through Cali today, do not boot it until you configure the network part. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to ask you to shut it down and then configure, because you can't really do it while you have it on. Okay, you're still gonna download Cali. And just like what you did before, make sure you save it in the downloads folder. So when it comes down, just click save as and put it on your downloads folder. Okay, so for me, it came down like this. And then just right click, show more options, 7-zip, extract files. And I would have a folder like this. Today, don't open the folder and double click it right away. It's important that you add the virtual machine through VirtualBox, because you are going to run 2 virtual machines concurrently. And we need to network them so that way they can see one another. Okay. So once you have your virtual machine, like your Kali Linux, extracted and saved, I put here that do not start the machine until you complete the next few steps. Okay. We don't need to install VirtualBox because the school already has it. So you are going to call on VirtualBox by searching for it here. You can search for Oracle or VirtualBox. And then you're going to open up the app. Okay. Now, in order to add this, you simply click add. Go to your downloads folder, find the extracted folder, open its subfolder, and open the blue file. Many of you've seen this before. So again, the step, click add on VirtualBox. Go to the folder where your virtual machine is. So click, for me, Kali is in downloads. The extracted folder, so if you don't have the extracted folder, you're gonna extract it. Open that up, its subfolder, and then the VBox file. Click open. Don't start it. Let it sit. Okay. Why is it CIS27? But why is it the admin password anymore? Oh, it's just pretend. Why? So click add, cancel. And browse to the where your Kali is extracted. Yeah, if you see the message from MVC saying you don't have that, just close it. Okay, don't start it until we do these steps, and I screenshot it for you. Okay. First, right, you should give your machine a decent amount of RAM and stuff like that. So where do I go to do that? Make sure that we select the VM. I think the Kali ones is okay, but if you want to beef it up, go to settings. Okay, the systems is here. This is where you can increase the RAM. You have to ask yourself, how much RAM do I have on my computer? If it's 16 gig, right, you need 4 gig for the host at least, right? And then you can dedicate the others to the machine, but don't max it all out. Then you can't run any application. So on the next part, it tells you to go to click on settings, and then you're going to go to the network tab. So come back here. I'm going to go to the network tab. And to make an internal private network on our virtual machine. So just think like this could be a box and another box, right?
So we're gonna have a Linux box and a Windows 10 box and in our little private network. So you're gonna click here, you're gonna click internal. And you can leave the name by default. So it's like intranet. So it tells you to click on the NAT and change it to internal network. That's step 9. Then once you do that, you're going to click advanced and you're going to click allow all. So coming back here, click on advanced and see how right now it's denied for promiscuous mode. You're going to click allow all. Now there is an option to allow VMs, but just allow all just to encompass everything else. Okay. And then you just click OK. That's 1. So once you do that, you can start your Kali. And you would do the same thing for your Windows 10 before you load it. Okay. Then after that, you need to configure the IP address, and I'll explain that so that way they talk. But keep in mind that we are going to take them off of our regular network, so they are not going to have internet after a while. They are going to be isolated testing environment. This is how you're supposed to do it, right? I'm sorry?
How much storage you said to give it to it?
You can give it 4 gig, 4,000. Okay, so once you configure the network part, like the screenshot, you would do Kali to log in and Kali, K-A-L-I to log in. First do the Kali Linux, and there you don't have one on your drive?
Yeah, it should say 27B clone folder, but yeah, it's 27. Well, you're gonna run 2 machines. So do the first part, and then do the second part. So just finish that. You have to finish that. Yeah, 27B folder. That's what you need. You're gonna run 2 virtual machines together. But follow the instruction for Kali first, so that way you don't get confused. Yep. Where did you download it? Okay, that's the virtual machine, but where's your Kali? If you download the folder, where's your download folder? Scroll up. Yeah, so you can save it. So let's download it again and put save as. Save as, put save as. You can put it onto your, don't put on your USB drive, put on your desktop. Scroll up and then select desktop. Scroll up here. All the time, we have to remember, okay? Desktop. All right, let's see. All right, good. Now you need to extract it from the download just like before, and then follow the step. Make sure we follow the steps today. The only difference is when you log in, it's just CIS27, no B, no exclamation point for the Windows. Okay, so once you log into Kali, you are going to open up the terminal and we're going to look at the IP address. The reason why I have you do this is you are going to change this IP address. Our normal 10.0.2.15, we're not going to use that. We're going to use our own IP address. Okay. So in Kali here, we're going to click on the terminal. First, we're going to check the IP address. So we're going to go to
type in IP address. And you would see that number one, the 10.0.2.15 went away, right? Because you took it off of the regular network address translation. It only has the loop back. Understand? It no longer is connected to the outside network. Using NAT, it was able to connect to the RCCD network or your home network if you run it at home. Since we have it internal, so just think about like now its own little private network. F0 doesn't have anything except for broadcast address. Okay, we're gonna give it one. So we're only gonna have a loop back. So you can record that. So what's the IP address? Well, it's a loop back. 127.0.0.1. See the address in purple I said, right? And this is how the system sees itself on the network. Okay. Any question? Okay, so a little bit of networking today. Oh, I might have messed up. I don't think you can install these without local access. I should have placed these steps after this one. My fault. Boo boo. I was so excited I forgot. So, because this is what's going to happen. When you do a sudo app update, it doesn't have. So let's see if it's going to do the rolling release, but it's not going to have all the packages. You see, failed to fetch. Okay. So my boo boo. We should take this. So you have to restart it and do it twice, right? So this is how we do it. The first time you have Kali, you start it, you run its update, you install the package, you shut it down, you modify the network like this, and you run it. Okay? So now I'm going to have to do 2 steps. So sorry. I apologize. Never fail. Always something goes wrong. So we're going to do a shutdown now. It's real quick. Okay, so how do I configure it to go back? Go to settings, go to network, right? Take this and put it back on NAT. Go to advanced. And it automatically, you know, so if you want to change this to deny, you can just, it doesn't matter, right? Because ultimately this allows the other to connect to it. So just put it on NAT and click OK. And then let's boot it. 2 clicks. Okay, so did you guys get that? Log into Kali, boot it, install the updates and the packages first. So do step 15, 16, and 17 before you do 8 and 9. Okay, because once you take it off the network, you cannot run updates on it because it won't be able to pull the packages. Okay, and then so now I'm going to log in and run the updates. What's wrong now? Okay, so we're gonna do, again, we're gonna do the 15, 16, 17 before 8 and 9. That's the process. Yeah, so you will figure it out. So just do a shutdown, put it back to how it was. Yeah, update. So put it down, type shutdown. Yeah, so now go here, go settings.
People are getting into like computer science and doing computation,
Okay.
cybersecurity.
Start.
So the one that they want to-
And then
So-
do 15, 16, 17, and then come back and give me. Have to shut it down. Yeah. So update and install package 15, 16, 17. Do those first and then 8 and 9. Sorry.
I have to rearrange the step. Okay, so after I did the updates. Sorry. So I'm gonna change this, right? We're gonna do this first before we do 8, 9, and 10. So, and then we're gonna install ferret. Down the line, you're gonna read a little bit more about ferret and hamster. These two go together. Okay, so if you install ferret, usually they put, because it's the same group of developer. This was written long ago. It's imperfect. There's things that, but I will show you how you can use it. Is it the preferred tool? No, but there are a lot of people that uses this along with Ettercap. So we're gonna go ahead and install ferret and hamster. And the -y there is just to answer yes, so you don't have to type it. So we're gonna do the boot Cali, and then you are going to do 15, 16, 17, then shut it down, and then do 8 and 9 and 10, and then boot it back up, and then the rest. Okay, sorry. April, did you know that? What, do you need help on something? Oh.
No, we can't cancel. Can't use that. Remember, we have to use 7-zip. Cancel. Delete this folder when that's done, and then right click, show more options, 7-zip, extract file.
All the instructions, follow the step at the beginning. Okay, any question? So we boot Cali, we do 15, 16, 17, shut it down, and then we're gonna do reconfigure the network 8, 9, 10, so that way we can set up the attack. All right, then we're gonna do we're gonna install hamster sidejack. So the old package is just gonna be called hamster, but that's different now. It's not the same. Okay. And then tcpdump already comes with Cali, so so the old hamster and hamster used to come with Cali, but now it's not. So you have to install it. So do 15, 16, 17. So now I still have internet. Then I'm gonna shut down. Now I'm gonna shut down, and then I'm gonna take it off the network or make it a private network. So come back here, go to network, click on NAT and internal network, click OK. Now we're gonna bring it back to, and then change the promiscuous mode, right, to allow all. So now we're gonna take it off of the internet, but it's gonna see the other system. We're gonna configure it.
This supposed to come up?
No. That means it's already had something that's already stored. Now when it says unconfirmed, that just means it's not done. So you're trying to extract something that's not done. You click up here, right? So you have there's a So when you, remember when I told you earlier, you have to go save as and put it on to them.
Once it's out,
Yeah, so when it pops up like this,
Yeah.
we put save as and then go to download.
And then you're gonna have to click
And
down.
then-
and now I go back to downloads.
And then now go to downloads. Here. So your downloads, do this. Go to your downloads folder, see how it's still empty?
Yeah.
It's not done, so earlier you're trying to extract something that's not done. It's like how you have to wait for it to come down in order to open it. You can't open it once, it's halfway. So like this. So here, I'm gonna let you click so you remember. No more options. And then 7-zip. And extract files.
And now it is clean out. Is this right? Just click OK.
Yes.
Okay. When that's done, open it up and then do step 15, 16, 17. Shut it down, come back and do step 8, 9, 10.
Why is this keep coming up though?
Because I think you just click yes to all because you had extracted it and deleted it or saved it somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, just let it rewrite the file.
So to open this, I'll just right click on it when it's done.
No, you have to find the extracted folder, the folder that was extracted, and then open it. Okay? And call me if you need help. Okay, so we had taken it off of the network. I configured the network, right? And then I made it into internal network. Now I'm back here. So where we left off was we checked the IP address. So when you take it off of the network, you're only gonna see the loopback address. Why? Because it's only gonna be able to see itself, no others, right? We don't have any other system on yet. Then we're gonna logically connect the other virtual machine. Okay? Looks like he's coming.
Here. Where did you go next? What's,
To my down.
no, you extracted on desktop. This is the zip folder. Where's the unzip folder? Where's the extractor folder? The one without the zip, not there. Where's, no, the folder without the zip sitting over. This is it. No, it will be here, somewhere here. Do you see it? That's right. Open it up. Open this folder inside. All right, now the blue file. Okay,
And then do 15, 16, 17, shut it down, and then do 8, 9, 10.
The result code is fail. Is that good?
I don't know. Maybe because of this. Okay. Yep. Other questions?
All right, sorry. So are we still following? We're okay? After we run this, we come back and do 8, 9, 10. And then you can answer 14 after you run IP address. So I have you check IP address so that way you can see that it doesn't have the normal IP address when you have internal network, but we're gonna set it. Okay. Then at the top, you are gonna edit connection. There are several ways that you can do this. You can do it up here, right? There's no network connections like this. Or you can go into the apps and search for network and you can find it as well. So in the next step, after I had taken it and put it on an internal network, I checked the IP address. I already did this earlier. I'm gonna do 18 now, right? We're gonna do an edit connection and we're gonna locate the wired one. So where can I do that? Just like Windows on the bottom right, Linux is gonna be on the top right. So you're gonna go here, your wireless and other connection exists here. If you don't see this here, you can click on the dragon icon and search for network or connection, and it's gonna take you to the proper configuration for the setting. So we're gonna click wired connection 1. And might take a second for it to load. But once it loads, you're gonna see different tabs and you're gonna choose IPv4 and you're gonna modify it. Okay. So we are gonna put in, we are gonna connect the settings, click on IPv4 tab, change the method from automatic to manual. We're gonna give it a static IP address. So instead of obtaining an IP address from the DHCP server or the role of DHCP, it's gonna use a manual IP address, okay? Then we are gonna use the class C address. The reason why I do this is because we only have 2 computers and class C kind of mimic your wireless network at home. I know that. So class C, this is a network ID, network ID, network ID, and the host ID is here, right? The subnet mask is 255, 255, 255.0. This is like the zip code for the system. I'm sorry?
20, is it supposed to be 25.11 or
25.11. Yeah. Because the router is the one, our system cannot be the router. Yeah. This is so slow. I'm gonna go here. So if you can't click here and it's keep going circle like this, you can do advanced network configuration. So I just click on the dragon and you search for network. And then it's gonna come up like this. And you click advanced network configuration and this is gonna come up. This is a faster way. See how sometimes it's disconnected, it prompts you like this. I don't like using this way. But you can click on wire connection and then click the wheel, the little wheel here for the settings. Okay. Now, once I have the wire connection 1, I'm going to go IPv4 and then I'm going to add. So the first part is going to be the address. So you type 192.168 dot or period, right? 25.11. I wanted to not use .0 dot thing because if you are following the same instruction, I don't want you to add it to your regular network, but you can definitely use your regular network IP. I would recommend using a later IP address like 100 or 150. The network mask or the subnet mask is going to be 255.255.255.0. It's a default class C. And the gateway is going to be your router. So normally we just do a .1. So 192.168.25.1. This one doesn't really exist, but if we have a router, that's the IP. Okay. And you're going to, after you have that, you're going to click save. So I click add and I put in these addresses and the subnet mask. It's 255, 255, 2550, because 255 represent 8 bits, so there are 8 bits plus 8 bits plus 8 bits. That's why you see CIDR 24 here. Okay, so you just follow step 20, 21, and 22 for that part. Save. Then, once you have all of those things entered and saved, come back here, check your IP. Always check your IP address when you update. Never assume that it's there. And voila. See? So now you just learn how to configure static IP in Linux. Step 2. No. All right. Yeah, you can ping it to see if it works. Anyway. So take a screenshot of that showing me that you did configure your static IP. So when you're using this IP, you have to think about all the other systems. So your Windows system needs to have the same network ID, right? 192.168.25.12 or .14 or .18, whatever, right? It has to have the first 3 parts. The first 3 octet needs to be the same because it's class C. Okay. All right, same class. Okay. So at this point, take a screenshot. Now we're gonna boot Windows 10. Okay. So go to your USB drive. Okay. And you should have a CIS27B Windows 10 VM clone. You can copy it to your desktop or you can run it directly here. But before you run, we're going to take this puppy off the network right away. So what you're going to do is you are going to go to VirtualBox, click add, right? I have it on my desktop. So go to desktop, open up the folder that you copy, open up your BB box file and click open. I'm not going to do that because I already have it loaded. So here it is. It might say 27 clones, the same. All you need is a Windows 10, okay? Now, before you start it, you need to do the settings, network, change this to internal, advanced, allow all. Click OK. And then start. So we're gonna run Kali and Windows at the same time. Make sure that you configure.
I did the steps the same.
Close that. Okay, so you did 15, 16, 17?
Yes.
Okay, now you're gonna shut it down, so type shut down now. Shut down. Go back to your VirtualBox. Okay, so go to settings. And network. And go to click on the net. Internal network. Click on advanced. Allow. Where's this in? Allow all. Okay. Sorry. If you change, you take it off the network at this point, right? You're gonna make its own little network. Yeah, when you reconfigure, yes.
So this pops up now to Kali's back.
Yeah. And then at that point, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come back and you're gonna do step. Yeah. So you already did 8, 9. So you're gonna log in. So 12, oops. 12 through 14. You already did 15 and 16, so you can skip that, right? 12, 14, and the rest of part A. Right?
This is normal. I just gotta type in.
Yeah, you're gonna log in. So look at step 12. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, so we have Windows 10 running. The login is CIS27, no exclamation, no B. Sorry. I had another virtual machine created, but I just didn't have enough time to copy it, so I had to use one of the old ones. Okay, so here's your login. Okay, so in here, might be a little slow to boot. Anyway. So once you're in, just like how on Kali, you're gonna open up command prompt, you're gonna do IP config. You wanna check its IP address, right? If it doesn't give, it should give you the loop back, and then sometimes some system, if it doesn't even have that, it will have an PIPA address. It looks like a real address, but it's not. It would start with like a 168, something like that, right? And then you are gonna go in and change its configuration and set up a static IP. So notice that I use the network ID is the same as the other ones because this is class C. So I want to use the identical 3 octet at the beginning, but the unique host value is different. It's 12, right? Not 11. So you can do, whatever number up to 254. Right? So at home, if you want this system to be part of your home network, you can leave it on NAT, so that way it obtains an IP address. Or you want to configure a static IP, just use 192.168.0, and I would do like 120, 121, something like that. Because most of your other system at home, like your TV, your computer, those are like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many. In my household, it'll probably be up to like 50. We have so many things connected. But yeah. Okay. You guys ever tried running Wireshark at home? To see what other people are looking at?
I don't know what to look at.
Just be
I'm
careful.
clicking on everything.
Well, you have to start looking at what
Yeah, I see the stuff, but what else? I don't know.
we did a Wireshark lab. So go back and look at what we were looking at.
I downloaded some stuff, I don't know where it went.
Okay. So let me look at my windows. Is yours as slow as mine? Mine is so slow.
Is it running on one core still? Did you change that?
Maybe I didn't change that. Is it? Yeah, the default is 1 core, right? Murphy today, I feel everything is delayed.
After step 12, and I sign back in, then I just go down to 18.
Yes, yeah, so 12 to 14 and then jump to 18. Yeah. Check your IP address. How many? Yeah, if yours is slow, it's possible that Avaro said that I didn't change my core, so it's slow. It's running on a single processor. Let's check it, right? Yeah, single core with that's not good, so we can boost it up. I don't have the patience for that right now, so
It's been a while since I've been not able to
I am gonna run the other one.
give you my older.
It's a little beefier.
Windows one?
Yeah, so for those of you, if your system is low, right, you can shut it down and change it. And hopefully it doesn't crash. So I'm gonna try that now. Or I can run another one.
First, we started out the cybersecurity. Then it went to it.
So we're gonna do a setting system. Go here, you can give it 4,000. Yeah, For which one, Kali or Windows? It's just CIS27.
That one, that we kind of wants to be. That's slide. Not saying that you really need to have it, but if you're like, yeah.
This case, yeah, I did a step here, 17.
So no, so you already logged in, we already did this earlier, right? Yeah, so just do 18.
You got in? Okay, that's better. Faster now. So give it some juice, more core and memory. So now we're gonna log in CIS27, no exclamation point, no B. Then we're gonna open up command prompt, CMD. You don't have to run it as administrator. We can simply look for IP config, lowercase. So this is an APIPA address, right? If you took 40A, you would know what this is already. So in Windows, that looks like real address, but it's not, right? So this is an APIPA address, APIPA auto configuration IP address. This comes with Microsoft OS. If it can't find an address, it just gives it a class B address like this, not real. Okay, so now we can write that down. We know that it's an APIPA address, so it doesn't have an IP address because we took it off the network. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna go in and you're gonna change the configuration by changing your Ethernet adapter because your virtual machine sees everything as Ethernet right now. So come here. Sorry, I'm gonna take this down a little bit so you guys can follow. And we can close command prompt for now. We are gonna go into network and internet settings. So on your search bar, you can search for network. Let's see. Or just settings. So in settings, click on network and internet. And then in here, right, it tells you to click on change the adapter options. On the right side, you should see that. So in your virtual machine, don't get confused. So virtual machine, open up your settings and go to network and internet, and then click on change adapter options. This is gonna take you to your Ethernet adapter. You can right click or double click, right click and go properties. So this is where you're gonna change your IP address. Go down to IPv4, click on properties, and then use the following, and we're gonna put in 192.168.25.12. And you simply click the subnet mask. The default gateway, that's gonna be our router, so it's the .1 that we had selected. So click here. So it's gonna be 192.168.25.1. Realistically, in a network, if you have a domain that you host, a DNS, that address is gonna go here, but we don't have a DNS, so we can leave that blank. And we're gonna click OK. And then we're gonna click close. But notice that my IPv6 is not static, so when you scan, you're gonna see it. Okay, it's still gonna be on obtaining the IP address from the network, but the version 4 is static. Okay, so with that, I did 39 to 41, and then I closed that. So now I'm gonna go back here and open up your command prompt. So CMD. and then you're gonna do IP config. So now you have your new IP address, your new subnet mask, and your default gateway, which is your router. And that's how you set up static IP, a manual IP address in Windows 10. So we're gonna do both at the same time now. Both of your virtual machines are on. It's on the same network. On your Kali Linux, right? We can close this. On your Kali Linux, you're gonna go which TCP dump. All this is to check to see if there is TCP dump installed. If there is, it would give you a directory path, your folder path. It would say USR bin TCP dump. Okay? Yeah, which you can do which anything, which, you know, an application name, right? It will tell you what it's like, which hamster, and it will tell you if it's installed or not. If it is, there would be directory path. So that's how you can check. Okay. Then you are going to list all the interface. Every time that you use sniffing tool, you need to make sure that you see the interface and you select the proper interface. So coming back to Kali now. Okay. Here's my Kali. And I'm in my terminal. So I'm going to go ahead and use this command tcpdump -d. Capital D. And it's going to list all my interface. That means that the device or the system that we can connect to listen, right? So right now we're going to use F0. That's our Ethernet interface. Screenshot that. What is the status? So look at the status. Some of them are loopback, some of them are for other things. So you would put the information there for your answer. Now the real Ethernet adapter here is going to be the one that we're going to use. So we're going to do a sudo TCP dump, and we're going to do a -i for the interface, and you're going to do an F0, ETH0. So now you're going to listen from the Ethernet adapter, the first Ethernet adapter install, or the first interface here that's listed. So, and then it asks for the password. Now, if you don't see any traffic, it just means that there's nothing generated. If you want to have some kind of traffic go on the other system and try to open things, right? So you know why it's giving me this type of traffic. So what does ARP means? Address Resolution Protocol, right? What is it for? IP to MAC. So basically it's looking at what? ARP table, isn't that true? So it's asking who has this, who's the router? And to tell, so it's looking for the router information for itself, right? The .11 is my Kali. Okay. So take a screenshot.
I think it's going to the 27B Windows 10. It's like the 6th one. Third tab.
Okay. Right click. Copy.
And paste. Okay, so let it go for a few minutes. You can, and paste it onto your desktop, Gabriel.
Click button to press on with right, yeah, that one's good. And you paste it on your desktop. So I'll end that.
Just like what we did on Monday. Yep.
Very good. Yeah, you right click and in the bottom, which one you want?
Okay, so after we listen to it, we're gonna take a screenshot. You can press Control C. It's gonna tell you how many packets. So Control C is gonna cancel the process. So far, I only captured 10 packets. 15 was by the filter and 5 packets were dropped. So 10 was successful and out of 15, right? But technically, realistically, when you run this, you just leave it run, right? And you read the information here. So when you guys let these tools scan, try to see what's being displayed here. That's the whole point, is to see what's here, right? So it's, what is ARP, right? We have to know what that is. In this field, you have to know what that is. What is it doing? It's looking for the router, okay? It's soliciting for DHCP6, so it's trying to obtain version 6 address and so on, because that one is still enabled. Okay, what type of packets are being displayed last? For me, it's the version 6, right? So it's soliciting for IPv6 address, DHCP6. But yours might be a slightly different. It depends on when we terminate. So Gabriel, after you copy that successfully, you would begin part B.
Okay.
Okay, look at this lab step and do part B.
Here and in this folder.
Yeah, but don't load it yet. Just follow the steps in part B. Okay. Yeah, do the steps in part B. Any question? Okay, so now, once we have finished 48, you're gonna do this, but now we're gonna ping from the other windows, okay? So here we're gonna do a dump with Ethernet, and you can do any or you can do F0. If you do any, it's gonna listen to using any of the interface that is up. I'm gonna use F0, but if you want, you can try that.
Go to the settings and you do what it asks.
Follow the steps. Sudo tcpdump and then you can do @0, and we're gonna capture only 5 packets, and we're gonna look for ICMP. Oh. TCP. Oh, sorry, I type in @0 wrong. So it's listening for ICMP, and this protocol is used for pinging or trace route. So now on your Windows virtual machine, go to your VirtualBox, right? You can open up your Windows, which is this one. Since I have command prompt on, I'm gonna do a ping. I'm gonna ping myself. So 192.168.25.12. And it should have 4 packets sent and 4 reply, 100% success, because it should see itself. There is gonna be a lag on this side because we're going through a software, so I just want to let you know. Okay. But if it does, it should be able to come up with some information. And if it doesn't for a while, you can do Control-C. Sometimes it loads it when you end the process. Okay, so the purpose in that is to generate an ICMP traffic where we would ping. ICMP is used for pinging or tracing. And so if you can check back onto here. And if you want, you can also ping the 11. Okay. So virtual machine, as you can see, a lot of times it is a little laggy and not so ideal at some point, or it might not be responsive at some point, but you would be able to see some of it. Any question? There it goes. See how it's a little slow on that side? So you would see echo requests, echo reply, echo request, echo reply, hence the 4 packets. Since we told it to only capture 5, it's only giving us 5. But if you want 8, you would have had 2 sets of traffic. One is the Windows pinging itself, and the other is the Windows pinging the Kali Linux system. Right? So it would sniff that out. Yeah, just click the little X to close out that little prompt. Yeah. All right. Did you change your settings like this?
Yes,
Okay, good. Now you're gonna log in.
it comes up.
It's a little slow. Did you change, you haven't given it more RAM? Did you give it more RAM? Oh, you can't boot it. You have to leave it off before you to do this. So you have to shut it down, but shut it down properly. Yes. Click X, click here, and then click that, and then shut down. And then while it's shut off, leave it like this, go to settings. Okay. So now, once you have that ping and check your ICMP traffic, it works, right? Your system's network, it talks to one another. What we're gonna do is we are going to set up a web server on the Windows side. You can close your command prompt. On your Windows side, you're gonna go in and you're gonna search for control panel. Click open. There is a way to go through settings, but it's confusing. So this is the best way. Click programs, program and features. And then on the left, just click turn features on or off. And it's gonna pop up all of these features. All you have to do is check this box, Internet Information Service. And if you expand it, you would see that it comes with all the tools for it. So click OK. And it's gonna load the packages. The nice thing about the new Windows is that it would enable some of it, but you can go in and modify the index file for your, so your web server doesn't have to be a server OS, right? It can be a client OS, but running that services. So just like Windows 10 is a client operating system. So once we have that set up, which is stated here, right, on step 52 to 55, then you are going to check to see if it works. So go back to your Windows 10, open up Microsoft Edge, and it's going to load some kind of default or some error because it can't reach whatever, right? But you're going to put in the IP. No thanks. Okay. 192.168.25.12. Oh, I have a typo, sorry. Yep, so your web server works. Okay. So if you want to add applications and change index file, you would use IIS management tool, and you can search for that, and in that, let me see. So if you search for Internet Information Services Manager, you would see this, right? And you can expand it. So now our system is already a web server, you can set up authentication, right? On how you want the user to authenticate to your server. You can also change, you know, certificates. There is a if you click on application pool, you can add a certain application pool. So this is where for Windows, application is either C#, Visual Basic, VBNet. There's only certain languages that will work with Windows. If you use C#, you have to compile it or make a build for it. But if you can also see Microsoft tutorial. So if you want to add application, this is where you would add the application. And if you want to modify your web page and the site, this is where you modify it right here. Okay, so that's how you do it, is through an IIS manager. But by default, it should put something like this, which is the default page. So I'm here at 56. Uppercase CIS and 27 is the number. So do you see the IIS default page? Yes. So now we activated the web service. So now we're going to scan it. Okay. So you can go do that. So the scanner is going to be the Linux system, and the victim or the target is going to be and then you can always reload this. So like I said before, there might be a little slow. And you should be able to see some traffic. But now, wait, I can access the web server if it is publicly available. So let's pretend, now I'm the attacker, right? I know that I'm using Kali to attack, but I know they have a web server, so let's try it. Just, you either use the domain or their public IP. So on here, you can open up Firefox. And then you can type in the IP address of the Windows system. 25, so 192.168.25.12. And voila, it loads the page. Yes, so worked. Easy, right? I documented the steps for you already, so it should be really easy.
Thank you.
So does it look the same? It should, right? Between 56 and this. Okay. So once you load that, you answer the questions, and then it should have, you should be able to see the HTTP. This is important. This is the web traffic right here.
Yeah, I think probably should do it.
Yeah, just type 2 words. IP config 1 word. You can do it. You have to be able to do commands. You can. Okay. Are we okay with this?
You have a question for 48, when I asked for what type of traffic is shown, what- I'm not exactly sure what to type in.
What do you see? You see ARP request?
Yeah, just RFP request.
So what does that mean?
It's asking who has that.
Who has this? Which are your default gateway is this, right? 192.168.25.1, that's your router.
So just that.
So it's looking for the router, right? Because it might not have it in the ARP record, the table. ARP contains MAC to IP. It doesn't have a way to associate the IP address to a certain MAC, because that system doesn't really exist. We just put the IP in there in case we enable that system, right? So that's why it's looking for it. But it needs it to communicate with cloud. Okay.
The IP address would be the, IPv4, right?
Yes. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we did the IIS piece. We saw that the Linux one could connect, so now you know that they talk also. And then now you can also do only the destination IP. So we can do this on the Kali. So we're gonna run the sniffer, checking for only the destination of the Windows. And if you want to generate, open Firefox again, and then put in the IP address for the Windows again. It's not loading. It's too busy. So sometimes that happens, right? Also, so if it's not handling the request, you not get a page. And then you can go here. Oh, let me close this. You can see if there's traffic. So the whole point in this is to show you how you can look at destination or the source. So DST is for the destination, and we can simply generate traffic. But ultimately, you can produce a capture. So 61 show you how you can produce a capture, right? So let me see if it's still being scanned. Okay. So when you do a -W, basically it's write to file and whatever your file is stated here, but make sure it is a .pcap. So .pcap is widely used across all sniffer tools. So if you have this, you can import it into Wireshark, you can import it into Network Miner, you can import it into other application that accepts PCAP. They might have their own file type, but all of them should universally have a PCAP because that's what most all sniffer use. So, and then after you have created the file, you can do a -R to read it. But this is just to suppress the port. You don't like, if you don't like to, you can remove that with additional options. Okay, any question?
Right.
So we performed sniffing attack on the Windows so far, right? Then we are gonna use the 3 tools to perform. So before we attempt this, right, I want to disclose that for this to perfectly work, ideally, it would need a web application that a user would log in and access some portion. We don't have that. We have a web server. We don't have a web application. I did think about, integrating JavaScript and all of that. I have the code and I can show you, right, on my laptop. You can find JavaScript login screen and all of that all over the internet. W3 School, they have all of that online. But you have to integrate it into the HTML file for Windows and all of that. So I didn't want to go on a tangent and spend another class session just to teach you guys how to code for web development. That's a different course. This whole entire course is to teach you how you can sniff and be able to perform session hijack as a pen tester, right? That's the whole target in this. So now, once you're done with the next part, after you load, and sometimes, right, it's slower, it might not even get any traffic. So we're gonna do a Control C. You can read the capture. So if you already installed Ettercap, Hamster, and Ferret, their information is here. And I also put the link for their documentation and GitHub there. This is really good at sniffing out and doing man in the middle. It has different variation of man in the middle. And then the hamster tool is to be used with Ferret, and hamster is a way that you can set up proxy so that way you can do something with the cookies. Okay. I found hamster to not be too effective, but there are other tools that you can use in Kali and other toolkits. Ferret is really good at sniffing out traffic, but you need to use hamster with it. Okay. So if you already have Ettercap installed, which is part of step 15, 16, and 17, we're going to do a sudo nano to open up the configuration file. And you need to do this because we need to make sure that we have the super user privilege for this application. If you tried running it without modifying this, you will not get far. It will just be there scanning forever and you might not get anything effective. So you go to this configuration file and then you're gonna use your arrow key. You're gonna go down, right, to the preview, which is like the first two lines. You're gonna take out the UID 65534. You're gonna replace it with 0. And the same thing for the next one. Now, if you have routing table and routing information, you can add that in this configuration file. So if there are specific things that you want to add, or you can uncomment some of the things that they already have set up for the application, right? For now, we only need this. So after you have modified the 0 value, just do Control X, press Y to say yes, and enter. Okay, so that's 67. You can run the application directly from the application menu, or you can simply do a sudo -e Ettercap -G for graphical user interface. That means you can see instead of using the terminal, and it's going to pop up. Ettercap is always going to be with the little spider. So I normally go and check to see the interface. So if you have multiple adapter, you can use that, but we only have F0. And then you can click on the 3 dot, make sure it's promiscuous. Sound almost dangerous, right? All right. Okay. And then in the old Ettercap versions, and whenever I write a lab, I always check with people resources, like what kind of tutorials out there, just to see their approach on it. However, right, a lot of the tutorials you see on Ettercap is dated, and I can tell by the versions because it tells you to select the type of tools you can down the line. However, this right here is going to give you the setup information. You can have it activated as soon as the system turn on. That's automated. Or you can simply just click the checkbox and it's going to go like this. Okay. Now, to show your host list, you would click this 3 little line button on the left. but you first need to scan for hosts. Okay, to see if it sees our Windows system. Okay. And it might take a little bit of time, so you can try to check it again. Now, on the right side, this is where all your attack mode is. So you can do art poisoning, you can do others. Now, we shouldn't do SSL, and it's gonna tell you cannot, because if your host that's recognized that doesn't have SSL, it's not gonna matter, right? So, you know, it's gonna run all the attacks regardless, but you can select specific ones to run here. So Ettercap is definitely a good one to find. So if it finds the target, it's gonna list that here, and then you're gonna add the target to the list. So, or you can add the target to the list, and then you would feed it into the other two applications. I'm wondering why mine is not detecting this one. It's still looking, so it might take a little bit of time. Just to let you know that this application does require a lot of time. So you have to be patient with these tools. Yeah, I was running it on my gaming laptop last night. I try to simulate like the attack again, just to double check. And
Right.
no, it found it fast. But you can hear all the fans were kicking in. It was going, I'm too hot. Yeah. But it found it right away. Okay. So after a while, you know, you are gonna, so once you have your host information up, you can screenshot it. It should show your Windows and its MAC address, right? That's the whole point in setting it up. Otherwise it defeats the purpose. And then that, okay. So I'm gonna let that go, and then I'm gonna run the ferret and the hamster for you to see. Now I put a little bit of information here, and this is what I had mentioned earlier. So sidejack would complete if you use like a non-static IP, a dynamic IP. You can do this by just running it on your home network, and we can't do that here because of reasons for school. However, if you simulate this, it would be better if you have an application added to your web server, so that way it can create that session ID, right? And run HTTPS instead of HTTP. So this would be more complete if I have an application that I can authenticate the user. And I actually found, you know, Microsoft has tutorial on how you can add application pool. And the application that they wrote, it's actually really nice. It is a cart that you can add, like, you know, items to your cart and check out. So it is an e-commerce grocery cart type of application. So you can test it that way. Okay. So we're gonna sidejack real quick on ferret. I'm disappointed that it's not adding or able to find my host.
Always has me as the status of 0 with your things. So it's option number 1.
F0.
The statuses of doing.
Can you imagine that if it was connected to an application, we'd be able to still be session ID?
Yeah, but with the login. So in order to fully test, you have to have a working application and login. So I was telling Brandon, who was in my other class yesterday, that I wanted to test a real application. So you know what I did? I ran ferret and hamster and I logged in, you know, on the target system, I logged into my school email, my MDC email. And of course they have security in place. I just, you know, wanted to see. I'll show you guys what it looks like. So if it's not able to detect, it's gonna say broken pipe. Firewall, or it's not able to communicate with it, hamster is gonna show broken pipe. But it's not coming up, and I think there's some development issue with the package too. I looked at the forum to resolve some of the problem. I think they moved some of the files where it no longer exists, because originally I think it puts it into an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV. But I don't think that component is there anymore, so it's keep running into that error. And not a lot of people could resolve it. It's just funny because when I read the community or even read it, people are like, oh, make sure you use the proper Linux command, use ls. But you know, it's just some of the comment in there is not, it's maybe because the people who were responding don't really know the application,
Right.
so they're just
Don't know.
writing general solution about Linux. So. Yeah, making sure that you use proper Linux command, use ls to look at the directory and look at the command information. Okay, so now let's try. So in order to run ferret and others, you can open up another command line, window or terminal. And then you can run the ferret sidejack. So it's gonna look like this, right? It's gonna also sniff out. Does that look familiar? That looks just like the other one that you saw, right? So some of this is built on a sniffer that you already been using. So it should list all your interface. And then I'm gonna open up another window and I'm gonna run the hamster sidejack. So now does that make sense when you watch Mr. Robot? You're like, oh, there's Kelly.
Yeah, they seem really easy.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So with this, it's really is listening at port 1, 2, 3, 4. It basically creates a proxy, right? And it passes through the proxy. So if you wanted to see if hamster's at work, you open up your browser and you use that IP address. And we're gonna do port 1, 2, 3, 4. And it should show like this, right? So ideally, look at the steps here. It says, first, click on the adapter menu to start sniffing. Second, wait for it when the packets is passed. Third and fourth, once your target appears, it should show up listed there. And you're gonna click on the target and you're gonna clone it. So basically, you're gonna take their cookies and clone it. That means you're gonna plug it into your own browser. And that way, basically, you're stealing their cookie for the session, right? So, but with this process, because we don't really have a working application, you're not gonna be able to see your target here. But you can try. I don't like to encourage people to test it with real web application. They have security measure there and they didn't permit you to test their applications. So that is not legal, right? But you would click the adapter, make sure that you list your thing here, your interface, and then click submit. And it's gonna do its thing. So if your target shows up, like let's say if we're in a large network, it would show all of these. Now, to really check, you won't see anything here, but you really want to check the status. See how it shows this? Right? No such file or directory.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, that means that it's not able to access some of the file from this adapter. I think it's an application issues and it shows broken pipe.
What did I
So
find?
no connection.
What I found in the coding?
Yeah, so you can screenshot this,
So-
but I don't think that you can make a file in here. And I tried to find out like how we can generate this directory, but it's not able to identify the target, so it shows broken pipe. That just means communication issues. Okay, so this is on the hamster side, which is what we see here. But if you go to this one, it sees, this is your ferret. Right? It sees what? It sees the other system, the target system, see that? Mhm. It sees itself, the .11, it sees IPv6, it sees the ping, it sees, so if you let this run, so it shows the traffic here for its own system communicating, sending out and sending back. So it's sniffing out some of the stuff. But at the same time, you know, yeah, you have to wait, that's right, all day.
Would you be able to plug in the session ID on Hamster? Or,
Hamster automatically capture the cookies. So it clones it.
what if you only, let's say you don't have Hamster, you have a session ID, where would you input that? Is that on a different tool?
Yeah. But depending on the web server, some web server takes it on the URL, some web server.
Right.
Yeah. So depending on the web application itself. But if you do injection to URL, yeah, then you will place it onto the URL. But a lot of the times the easiest is to do the cookie.
Right.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're still performing, you guys know Ettercap is still running, right? Your Ettercap is still running, so if you didn't close your spider, that's still there. If you're, yeah, it should still be. So I'm gonna close my browser. Thank you for letting me know. So left version 1.1. Left version 1.2 will be better. I will come with a virtual machine that already has this. Forget coding it. So we'll have the application hosted. It's not that difficult.
Pretty cool to see it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it for advanced security class where, you know, it makes more sense. I feel like, you know, a lot of this stuff might be a little bit too technical for 27B is a technical class, but if you're new to the game, sometimes that can be hard. Right? But so basically, what have we learned today? Right? We've learned how to do sniffing attack using tcpdump. We also learned how to use Ettercap to do man in the middle attack. You can see the list of attack in Ettercap. Yeah, we would learn how to do session hijack by cookie jacking with ferret and hamster, but ultimately the important part is to create a private network with your virtual machine so you can have a testing environment. And that is always a good start. Even though we don't really have a working application. But we will do cross-site scripting and things with damn vulnerable web app, which is already there for us, so. I didn't want to rely on that all the time. I wanted to show you how you can make your own server and run it, you know? That's more fun. Okay. Might sound granular and manual, but you always should know like how to build these things out of from scratch. You should not have to. Yeah. So,
Okay, well, it's-
okay, let me stop.